What's going on? Logan Skis here. I'm recording a video today about work breakdown structures, project planning, and how to visualize your business using the venture map inside of the Miro platform. That's a lot to go over, but trust me, we're going to have a little bit of fun while we're doing it. In today's modern age, work, you'll find yourself scattered across multiple platforms, different file types. Think of spreadsheets, documents, and PowerPoints, everything from Adobe Premiere, After Effects, team communications. You're in Slack, Loom, emailing, texting, there's voice calls, there's Zooms. You're pretty much fragmented. Silos is a funny word. Silos make me think of industrial revolution, machinery, inventory type of stuff. They say, oh, we've got organizational silos. Silos are deceiving because that sounds really straightforward. Imagine big cylinders. It's widely proliferated. And I'm using some technical jargon, so I'll just cut down to it. There's a lot going on. It's not a silo. It's completely splintered. It's completely fragmented. Multitasking in productivity circles, they'll talk about how multitasking is a myth and that the human mind, human brain is really only geared to do one task at a time and that you have to transfer tasks. So from a neurophysiological level, to go from one thing to another, it requires energy. If you're like me, you know energy is a finite resource. Maybe some coffee can boost it up, some sunlight, fresh air, a good workout, a nap, a meditation, prayer session. Those things can give you a incremental boost in terms of energy, but the only way to really recharge is to get some high quality shut eye. If you're having to transfer energy throughout the day, going from place to place, and then using the lateral connections, the bridges between each place, you're communicating here, you're working here, you're distributing here, everything's different. Your mind has to run, it has to oscillate that brain power at a low level throughout the duration of the day. It's almost like weaving together a star map, but your mind is having to output energy just to keep the star map present. You think of each idea as a star in the sky. And if you've ever seen those astrological, astronomical kind of stuff, you'll see, Taurus, the Bull, Big Dipper, etc. You have to do that with your brain almost subconsciously. It's like a semi-conscious activity just so your waking state, just so your active memory can recall what's going on. And that's just not right. And frankly, it's exhausting. We hear a lot of talk about Zoom fatigue, but Zoom is just an easy way to say it's digital overwhelm, it's exhaustion. And part of that exhaustion is completely unnecessary. It's 2021 for Pete's sake, and there's some kick-ass technologies available to entrepreneurs, business owners, management teams, and operational teammates alike. It helps stakeholders stay connected. It helps teammates stay engaged. It drives purpose. It drives passion. It elevates proficiencies. And ultimately, it's the way of the future. It's moving towards the spatial computing paradigm. What am I talking about? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the venture map. The venture map is a business battle plan, leveraging some of the most time tested leadership strategies. One of the most fundamental things we do in the military prior to engaging in an operation, small, medium, large, high stakes, routine, it doesn't matter. Something we do as part of our doctrine is align. We align our teams. You may have seen it in a movie before as a cliche, talking about a briefing before going on a mission, right? You may have heard of that type of stuff before. Here's an old school photo, World War II generation. They're gathered around this wooden box with what looks kind of like a Mr. Rogers train set from hell, right? It's roads and little sticks and figures. It's a scale model. We call this a terrain model. Terrain models depict the realities of an area of operations. This allows all the individuals in a team to build a similar mental model. It's not one guy speaking it out because those spoken words are directly combating internal thought of each individual. And they're aerial, they're ephemeral, they vanish before our eyes, and they're competing against our own thoughts and the thoughts of our teammates. A bit philosophical, perhaps, but it's important because if you have a physical depiction, there's no room for misinterpretation, and it externalizes the model of everyone's minds. So instead of them building their own sandcastle in their mind, so to speak, their own train set from hell, their own terrain model, which is, again, a depiction of an area of operation where you overlay a strategy that mitigates risk and maximizes the opportunities for success. That is where team alignment is found. Now, this isn't some advanced technology. It doesn't have to be, at least. Now, there is some we'll look at in a bit. Here's something a little more from my generation. You're looking at guys with cardboard, little pebbles, duct tape. He's got a massive bamboo pole. You got guys sitting out in the middle of the woods, probably somewhere in Okinawa, and packs over here. But what do you notice as a commonality between both of these photos, regardless of the generation? Every individual's eyes are fixed at a similar space on the map. Their focus is intent because they are writing the mental model alongside of members of their team in real time. They're overlaying a strategy. Here's one that's even a little more relatable. This is looks like something out of North Carolina, maybe Virginia, and kind of reminds me of days training with 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines. It also reminds me of time in School of Infantry, digging a muddy trench, rigging up 550 cord internal string, white string to map out grid coordinates, hastily spray painting some rocks, and demarcating the range ahead or the training operation ahead. Of course, you got fancy stuff from Avatar that looks something like this. This is obviously a concept image. In fact, there is some partially holographic assets available in the market today. You can see that they're wearing HoloLens 2 by Microsoft. So these things do exist. This is more along the lines of Iron Man. We're probably somewhere halfway between the Mud and the Iron Man thing because we're going to be using a platform called Miro. So Miro is a virtual whiteboard system. It's like Google Docs is to documents, except it's a little infinite whiteboard that can go pretty much as big as your heart can desire, as big as your mind can imagine. All right. Why the venture map? Well, it's a battle plan for the business. I ended up having to make this because I was first in line for that splintered knowledge working experience where you're communicating through one app, you're working in developing production in another app, you're distributing through another app, you're archiving things to another app. It's the Dropbox or Google Drive or desktop folders syndrome where you have hundreds and thousands of documents and folders and files all over the place across different clouds, hard drives. It's insanity. It's insanity. To me, as a young enlisted Marine infantry squad leader, I know one simple thing, and that if you're going to execute on a high stakes operation or even a routine operation, you want excellence. You want to mitigate risk and uncertainty. You want to maximize the chances for success. In a military context, when you're at the tip of the spear, that means preserving the lives of your team. In a business context, that means preserving the livelihood of yourself and your team. Both are high stakes. Now, one involves potential hot lead and molten shrapnel from explosion and other risks. And the other one involves not paying your rent, not feeding your family. So they're pretty high, right? One is mortal stakes. The other one is close to mortal stakes. Where is the business terrain model? I know what a battlefield terrain model looks like, but where is the business terrain model? Surely, certainly there must be things in the world, places out there, big companies, fancy PhDs, developers, engineers, etc., who've developed something as simple as a business terrain model. And I looked and I looked and I kept on looking. In fact, I'm still looking for it. And the only time I find it, it's on my own screen because I put it together as an infantry dude for myself to run an operation in today's hyper complex, very fast paced, high stakes business environment, specifically within the realm of knowledge work, innovation strategy, marketing, and service rendering. So when you think of all of that type of stuff, you got to have a map. If your map exists in a cloud file system, or even some of the more hipster stuff that's coming out these days, like Notion, which is incredible. There's great platforms out there. No disrespect to them. I love the platforms, but what is required to align a team is a single unified place so their mental models are originating from the same point. Very passionate about the idea of mapping businesses just because of that reason, because this internal tool has transformed my walk as an entrepreneur, my business as a consultant, but more than that, the businesses of my clients. I've had the privilege of working one on one in engagements with business owners for almost 2 years now. And what we've learned by deploying these visualization capabilities, business terrain modeling capabilities is powerful. It transforms the way that you see your operation. It aligns the team. It mitigates risk. It maximizes chances for success. And what that means is it gives you areas to optimize the customer experience, which produces greater advocacy from customers, extends their lifetime value, eases the inefficiencies of a conversion process, really creates an authentic and highly effective nurture campaign through a funnel, and maintains a state of cultural relevancy for its teammates, purpose for the team running the show all at the same time. So, big question is, how in the world do we map a business? I've talked about this in a few other videos, and I'm going to summarize here. But while I do, let's go ahead and take this down to scale. You've seen enough of me talking. Now it's time to get to the primary effort today. Here we go. When asking how do we map a business, we have to get practical. What it boils down to is looking towards the thought leaders. What are the most experienced, successful, and smartest people in the game saying? What they talk about is things like this: business modeling. Ash Maurya adapted Alexander Osterwilder's business model canvas from Strategizer. This is a great way to holistically represent a business using 9 key building blocks. Excellent way. In fact, this way, business model canvas and related strategic frameworks are taught through the National Science Foundation and its Innovation Core program. This is reinforced through technology accelerators and incubators throughout the country. You could look at things like this: value proposition canvas and customer segment map. Excellent, excellent stuff. There's jobs to be done frameworks. There's all these incredible tools that have been created in the business community. I've learned so much over the last 2 years of dedicated study, and really beyond that, I think close to the better part of a decade now, I've been through real time trial and error, but intense full time study on this and building out my own notes, which is really what we're looking at here, is a framed version of my notes and an order of operations and processes in order to accomplish specific end states in the civilian environment. Now, you can flush out the business through a number of ways. Ultimately, the old way of doing things involves you flushing something like this out, multiple versions of this even, and then it goes into a folder. Maybe you print it off and you tape it on your wall. Up until now, the borders of digital formats been very constrained. You're making a PDF, you're writing an email, you're doing a spreadsheet, PowerPoint, a document. It's pretty constrained. Even if you look at something creative, it's a video, it's a static asset, creative composition. Even those with scalable borders, they're not infinite by any means. And what's more, the elevation, your perceptual elevation, to use some technical language, is you can only see a Photoshop image really once it's finished from one level. Maybe you could zoom in, but we don't really have many user interfaces that have this very in-depth zoom feature besides Google Maps or something like that. This is like the Google Maps for your business. But the issue is the real platform. This is like a video game engine for business. It's called Miro. You can get it for free. You don't need to even sign up for the pro version. And what Miro is amazing for is notes, sketches, and templates. They've got incredible templates. There's plenty to get you started. But the real question is, if you come in to the Miro platform and you want to map out your business, how do you do that? Well, I can tell you how I do that and my clients do that. And it's through the Venture Map framework. This is something we've been building for some time. And the Venture Map framework is a business terrain model. It's a business battle plan, and it allows you to conduct a thorough process, developing a project plan, team culture, market analysis, business model, testing sequence, marketing plan, media production, and track your active campaigns. We embed our content calendars, Google Studio, marketing KPI spreadsheets, and we have some strong space, sandbox space for advocacy programs, and as well as tracking the actual creative collateral that's distributed to the market. Transitioning here, you can see we track everything from our traffic channels, top of funnel. We can see exactly what is occurring live at the top of our funnel, opt-ins, nurture sequence, mid-funnel content, all the way through to the conversion space, all the way into service delivery. So you notice I'm zoomed in. It's kind of like a PowerPoint. These kinds of things will scale into the larger map. We also build custom process playbooks to go below. So anything you have for marketing, funnel development, sales, onboarding, retention, operations, strategy, advertising, content creation, culture training, it all goes in there. So the logic of the map has been curated extensively over the course of the last 2 years. Placement of deliverables in the order of operations is far from arbitrary. We've spent a significant portion of time building this map so it accurately represents time, or how to visualize time in a two-dimensional space within the digital world. This is effectively a 2D metaverse for our company as a visual repository for all of our company's IP and other. So that's a lot talking on the theoretical basis and the personal perspective basis. What I'm going to do in the next video is break down our work breakdown structure a little further. In my last live stream, I actually posted this up. So I described how I made this, how we're using gamified elements to track all of our deliverables. And in the next chapter, the next video I drive out there, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to punch this out with a completed version, just like I did this first deliverable, and then we'll just keep going down the chain together. I'll walk you through it, my exact process, and hopefully condense some of your learning curves out there. The bare minimum, I view this video twofold. One, to increase my own proficiencies, media production, and just documenting my journey, is to build your trust and drive value. So if anyone out there watches this video and resonates with what's going on here to any degree, I'm grateful for your precious time. I'm happy to give you additional value. Click the link below. Just let me know where you want me to send this template, and to say thank you, I'll even spend time with you on the call. So click the link below, tell me where to send the template, and then right after that, you can book me for an onboarding session with you. So we'll go onto Zoom. I'll help you plug and play this into your own account and get you started venture mapping for free. There's no reason not to do it. You get a free Miro account, free venture map, and a free onboarding session with me. I love connecting with people who are passionate about the visualization of their business and find value out of this architecture. So if that's you, go ahead and click the link below, and I'll see you in the next video.